people, and especially America, this idea of fame, that to be famous means that you're successful, that you're happy.
Why am I unhappy? Okay, Stephanie Gaga, hybrid person. Why are you unhappy?
Khloe Kardashian, Lady Gaga, and Katy Perry, are they unhappy? They are rich, successful, and have the attention of the whole world on them. What's wrong? It's simple. They all are just introverted neurotics. Happiness is hard to measure, hard to define, and hard to comprehend, but everyone desires it for their entire lives. So now, let's unveil the truth behind happiness. Many are unaware of the fact that personality is at fault sometimes for why we are unhappy. First of all, how is happiness measured? For our estimations, we focused on positive and negative effects, which refer to positive emotion and expression and negative emotions and expression, respectively. So, the question we want to find an answer to is there a link between the big 5 personality traits and levels of happiness among people in Kazakhstan? And if yes, to what extent? So, considering the fact that a significant amount of past research has shown that there is indeed a link between personality traits and levels of happiness, our main goal is to establish whether it applies to people in Kazakhstan or not.
Let's start.
Let's start out with what we already know about happiness and extroversion. Extroversion includes such characteristics as being conversational, enthusiastic, and outgoing. Past research has already established a correlation between extroversion and happiness. The list of happy countries from the World Happiness Report is a good example. For instance, most Northern European countries such as Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Switzerland, and Netherlands are at the top of the list, while on the map they are countries extroverts, which serve as an example of the correlation. To check if the correlation applies to our country, we conducted interviews with 2 psychologists from Kazakhstan. We asked psychologist Dampesheva, who works at the Republican Scientific and Practical Center of Mental Health, "Do you think extroversion and neuroticism are influential factors?" This was her answer.
Безусловно, с психологической точки зрения имеется взаимосвязь между двумя этими качествами и ощущением счастья, так как ощущение счастья зависит в большей степени не от того, как складывается жизнь человека, не от каких-то событий, а от отношения к этим событиям.
According to the second interviewee, Maya Kuzovkina, who works at the KMEP University, happiness is different for every person and cannot be considered a constant value. She stated that personality doesn't influence happiness since it builds from life experiences, not on personality traits. Now let's talk about our survey. There were 40 participants in the survey. First, they passed the Big 5 test to find out indicators of personality traits. Then we asked questions about their emotional state and whether they are happy people. After the analysis of the survey, we concluded that extroversion is most positively correlated to happiness. As you can see, the higher the level of extroversion, the happier people tend to be. But not only extroversion may affect happiness level. That is why I think it's time to talk about neuroticism.
People with a high level of neuroticism are more likely to have irrational ideas, lack of control, and poor stress management. By the way, no offense, guys, 2 members of our group are complete neurotics, so you're good. According to the World Happiness Report 2022, most Northern European countries are at the top of the list, while East Asian countries are below the 26th place, which indicates that they are unhappy countries. At the same time, as Kajonius and Magiola state in their research, Northern European countries are low on neuroticism, while East Asian countries are higher in neuroticism, which serves as a great example that happier countries tend to be less neurotic.
According to our survey, neuroticism is negatively correlated to happiness, but the relationship is insignificant. Our findings conflicts with a known statement that neuroticism is related to happiness from a psychological point of view, since happiness is defined not by events in life, but the reaction to them. These findings support the statement made by Maya.
Чаще всего уровень счастья, он зависит все-таки от внутреннего состояния самого человека.
So, as far for neuroticism, turns out it is not correlated with happiness in the end, and there are many more factors that can affect the personal well-being.
In conclusion, We found that there is a correlation between certain personality traits and happiness in Kazakhstan. All of the big 5 personality traits are positively correlated to happiness, except for the neuroticism, which is negatively correlated. Even though we didn't have a lot of participants in our survey, the highest correlation was related to extroversion. We also have found some interesting differences in levels of happiness in different demographic groups. So an interesting thing is that despite women are more neurotic than men, well, they are happier. Congratulations, ladies, at least in this unfair world, there is another reason we get to live longer. The possible continuation of this research can concentrate more deeply on increasing the number of survey participants, concentrate on the reasons why there is such a correlation, or see if the correlation is direct or indirect, and examine other possible factors. Last words from our team. Enjoy your life and try to stay positive, unless you are a neurotic who is way too anxious after this video.